border of South America lies Suriname's capital city, Paramaribo. We're going there now to meet Saïda.
So I am Saïda Tuinfort. My last name is in Dutch and it literally means garden fort. And then last year I got married and my married name is Veldbloem, which literally means field flower. I think that's a cute combination. Anyway, I'm 24 years old and I come from Suriname, a Dutch-speaking country in South America. But I also grew up in French Guyana, which is a neighboring country of Suriname, and it's an overseas department of France. So that makes me fluent in both languages, Dutch and French. And also we have a lot of local languages, but I speak two of them, which is Sranantongo and Alkanisi. I just have a picture here of the house I grew up in because it's so special to me. It's a house in the middle of the forest and it's so dear to my heart. I miss it so much because, yeah, reasons. Sadly, my father passed away 7 years ago and mom passed away 2 years ago. So something else I want to say is that I'm a Christian. I believe that that we have one creator, God the Father, but he is also the best friend of those who allow him to be that in their lives, and that's what keeps me going. And what keeps me busy these days, well, my pregnancy. I am due the 7th of March. So I live in Suriname, and in the capital, Paramaribo, which is the most developed part of this country, we have a lot of forest. Back when I was living in French Guyana, I was like, no, I'm never gonna live in Suriname, in Paramaribo, because I thought it was too... I was used to, sometimes I have to look for my English words, but I was used to a quiet, small little place and growing up in the forest and all that, so I didn't see myself living here. But now I live here in Paramaribo, and it's a city. It is we're still a country in development, so there's much to be done. The climate here is tropical. It rains, and it's also very hot, very warm. We can shower the whole day. Yeah, the people here, we come a little bit from everywhere. You have the original people, were the indigenous people. They were already here, and you have different tribes of them. And then you have the enslaved Africans, which I am somewhere also a descendant of. And then you have the people that came from Indonesia on contracts to work in the fields after the slavery was abolished in 1863. And yeah, we have also the Chinese that came afterwards. We have people from India, which are a great part of our population, but we all just became Surinamese people now. So we love each other's food, we respect each other's culture, and so much so that we have a mosque and Jewish temple, a synagogue right next to each other. It's I think the only place in the world you can see this. But yeah, that's a really cool part of Suriname. Surinamese people love to party, and a party is not complete for us without good food. And it's funny because when I was back in French Guyana, a party would consist of snacks and things like that. But here, no, you gotta have the rice, and if it's the roti from the Indians, or if it's telo from the Javanese people, or if it's bami, which is like pasta, but we make it with soy, or they make it with soy sauce and so on, and that's cool. The down part right now is that the economy is killing us, I think, but yeah, we find ways to cope with it and continue, so we don't have big manifestations yet, but it's really kind of bad because where your salary doesn't change, but where you would but the prices of gas doubled and the prices of everything in the in the shops doubled, so yeah, that's interesting. I think now that I've grown up, my passion can be stated as teaching something to someone else. It actually started very young. I was 5 years old, and then as soon as I would get back from school, home from school, I would take my little sister and the bears, and my bears, and I would just put them, and then I would use the wall as a blackboard and do everything that my teacher did that day, I would do with them. So yeah, that was hilarious because one time the teacher, she was looking in her bag, and then she couldn't find something, so she said like the S word but in French, and I went back home and I was doing the same, and I said exactly the same word. My mom heard it and she was like, no, but she couldn't help but laugh. Yeah, that's how it started. It was just something in me. After that, when I grew up a little bit, in class I was in charge of helping other kids to read fluently. In church I started teaching songs to my peers, and later I became the youth group leader, but everybody was much older than me. Yeah, I've been motivated by great teachers all along the way. Really, all the schools I've been to, there were always great teachers there, and they've impacted me in different ways. Even some were creative, some were very punctual. Some of them, their approach to the lessons were great. I also loved to watch teaching movies, or movies about teachers, like Front of the Class or To Serve with Love, those old classics. And there's also one with Whoopi Goldberg, but I can't find the name of it right now. Anyway, I graduated Bachelor of Music Education, but I've been working already 3 years as a part-time French teacher on the high schools here in Suriname. One thing that I love to do with like with the children of the Sunday school, for example, I would I take my guitar, not that I'm a great guitar player, but just to accompany the songs. And I'm gonna do one for you today that's If You're Happy and You Know It, but then in French. Si tu as la joie au cœur, frappe des mains. Si tu as la joie au cœur, frappe des mains. Si tu as la joie au cœur, si tu as la joie au cœur, si tu as la joie au cœur, frappe des mains. Si tu as la joie au cœur, claque la langue. Si tu as la joie au cœur, claque la langue. Si tu as la joie au cœur, si tu as la joie au cœur, si tu as la joie au cœur, claque la langue. Yeah, and then we continue. It's always great fun with the children. Another song that I use, this one is more for pronunciation in French. It goes like this. So I sing, you repeat after me. Un éléphant qui se baladait tout doucement dans la forêt. Cet éléphant avait perché sur son dos un joli perroquet qui s'appelait Jaco. Yeah, it's about an elephant that walks in the forest and he has a parrot on his back. Just that. You can use it also to put the vowels in, and then it becomes very funny, like let's say A, then we do everything but with A. Analafa Kasabalada Tada sama Dalafara Satalafa ava Parsha sasada Ajala paraka Kasapalajaka. I'm gonna start with my favorite book. It's this book. Oh yeah, you can't really, it's mirrored, but Ce que le jour doit à la nuit. It's a French book from Yasmina Kadra. He's a French writer, and this book is, for me, it's written so good. It's only I think years after I read it that I understood the title, the real meaning of the title. It's like what the day has to thank to the night, and it, like, for me that means some things you see, and you see a person, you see something in real life, and then you don't know what happened before that made it be this way today. Movies and TV shows. I really like period dramas, and yeah, I grew up with a lot of fairy tales, listening to fairy tales. We had this cassette player, and with books accompanying them, and they were from Holland, from the Netherlands, and a lot of fairy tales. So my head was just full with fairy tales, and period dramas, I think, are the closest to fairy tales, but yet you see reality in it. So yeah, that's cool. I love Victoria, and a series that I used to watch when I was younger was Loulou de Montmartre in French. On YouTube, I really like to watch, to follow Lena Situation. She's a French YouTuber. Her lifestyle is totally not my lifestyle, but I just love to see her passion and how she deals with things, and yeah, the way she brings her or makes her content is so creative. That's great. And another one that I also really look up to is Mikara Tours. I'm kind of into sewing, but not that much. But she she makes sewing videos, but then she talks. She makes voiceovers in it, and then it's totally not related to what she's doing in the video sometimes, I think, but it's hilarious. And then comedy, another comedy one I like to watch is Trey Kennedy. I think that would be the song Fall on Me from Andrea and Matteo Bocelli. It was made for the movie The Nutcracker and the Four Realms, if I'm correct. I never saw the movie, but just one day I came across the song on YouTube, and it spoke to me because I related it to my parents and the life I've known with them, and then now without them. So the first lyrics say, I thought sooner or later the lights up above would come down in circles and guide me to love, but I don't know what's right for me, etc. And that kind of summarizes it all for me. As my parents, they made us grow up with a certain kind of mentality, the fairy tales I was talking about, and yeah, now that I'm more grown up, every time it's like a reality check when I discover something new and see something in life. So yeah, that's why that song reminds me so much of them. I used it back then for walking down the aisle too, because my dad couldn't do that, obviously, and yeah, so my brother walked me down the aisle, but walking to that song was kind of like having my parents going along with me. And yeah, So back then it used to make me very emotional, and I would just listen to it walking down the streets and thinking about my life. But now I can not listen to it that often anymore. I just listen to it on occasions sometimes. Okay, first of all, I like my personality. I like that I kind of have a soft personality. I really like to please people. I know that's kind of dangerous, can be dangerous, but so far I've always kind of been protected for the dangerous side of it, and now I'm learning to not be the one that wants to please everybody, but to look also what's good for me and what's my limit, let's say. Yeah, sometimes I have the feeling as if I'm disconnected from my own reality. For example, with my pregnancy in the beginning, I was not in the beginning, but you know, they say you have to talk to your child when it's in the womb and etc. And I'm like, what should I tell my child? So I think that's one thing I don't really like about me. I want to live in the here and now, but I do that, but I have tendencies, and now I'm kind of working on it, but I have tendencies to project myself in the future and to work on projects and make plans for things, even if they won't happen. I just love to plan things out. Like, for example, I would think about my 25th birthday and what I want to do, like a birthday bash, anyway, a birthday party, and yeah, I would plan it all out, and sometimes I would even write it down. I know that maybe it won't happen, but just that moment is living for me. But that's not good. I just want to be here and now and enjoy what I have now. So that's what I'm working on now, and it's going better and better. But yeah, and I wish I knew more what to say in social situations, because sometimes I get invited to this let's say to the embassy sometimes I get invited, and then people come and talk to me, and I have no clue how to continue a conversation. So they will start saying something, and I would just react to that, and then I would be like, oh shoot, what do I say now? Yeah, but sometimes I console myself by thinking, okay, maybe it will come with age. I will know what to say then. This is outside. And this is Yushu. Hi, Yushu. And this is Noel. Hi, Noel. So, actually, they are my sister's dogs. Yushu, she got from someone back at church, a pastor. And that's already 4 years ago now. I don't even know what race she is, because we looked her up on internet, but we couldn't find a dog that really exactly resembles her. So I don't know what race she is, but yeah, she's our oldest, and I take care of her now because my sister is studying in French Guiana and she can't have the dogs with her there. Noel is a very anxious kind of dog. She is very anxious about, not anxious, but she has this when she eats, she's really, let's say food is a big deal for her. I gave her the name Noel because we got her around Christmas, and yeah, in French Christmas is Noel. And Yushio, my sister, got her that name from a Japanese movie series, I think. Yeah, so that's about Noel and Yushu. I'm gonna look if they want to give us high five. Okay. Noel? No. Come. Come, Noel. Okay, Yushu, come. High five. High five, Yush. No, she only wants a belly rub. She doesn't want to do the high five, only belly rub. Yushu? Wanna do a belly rub? And Noel is always jealous, so she has to come also. High five, Noah. High five. High five. High five. High five. Yeah, she wanted to do it. She wanted to do it. Okay, bye, Noah. My highest high so far, I would maybe not say so far, but one of my recent highest highs have been graduating from my Bachelor of Music Education. It took me in total 5 years to complete it because of different situations. But the main ones being at one time the school was closed, and it's also a new, let's say, a new study here in Suriname and on that school, so a lot of things had to be figured out still. But yeah, being there finally, doing my final presentation, and which was a mini musical about my life. The feeling of just being able to accomplish all of that, and seeing finally what I worked for, that was great. Having done well also, because I got a good grade, and the positive reinforcement from the different teachers, and also the cameraman, the person that was filming and making pictures of us. It was nice to see that people see the things you do and they acknowledge it. And then also we had some media articles. Media articles came in the newspaper, so that was cool also. About my lowest low, that would probably be my parents' death. When my father passed away, I was 16. Yes, and I wasn't there with him at the moment, but that was kind of one of the reality checks I'm talking about. Like, you imagine you're gonna be with your parents forever, and not forever, but you don't see it coming, and especially not when you're 16 years old. So that was the first thing, like, okay, now we have to continue without him. And then but then when my mother passed away, I was 21 or 22, but I was there with her for the 10 days of her sick bed, and before that I had been taking care of her also. But she had always portrayed herself so that strong and that reliable, and that knowing everything. So it was kind of hard to watch her go away like that, just becoming weak and vulnerable and relying on me to console her. So that was tough. But the last time I cried was I cried and my husband was there. It was early in the morning, and these ideas had just been going around in my head. I had the news that I wasn't gonna be paid for my maternity leave for the work that I do in the high schools teaching French. So it was really a frustration because I love the job, but if reality check again, if I can't be paid, then I can't continue with the job. But that's hard for me to assemble in my mind. And the last time I cried by myself was just 2 days ago. I was watching The Greatest Showman wedding flash mob of Maddie and Preston on YouTube. And it was so cool seeing all those people, like all their people, their bridesmaids and friends, and just participating with them in something that they love, musicals, and especially The Greatest Showman. I really love that movie. And seeing the passion and just the unity and the love of the group, it just made me cry. For my graduation, I had to come up with a quote for my biography, and after thinking, looking back at my own life, I came up with this quote. In Dutch, it goes as follows: Succes komt van positief benutte kansen, en een ondersteunende omgeving. In English, I can translate it as follows. Success comes from positively used opportunities and a supporting environment. The reason why I came up, why I put it like that, is because sometimes we can all say, yeah, you have to be successful, you have to work hard at it, you have to go for it, if you want it, you can do it. It is true, all these things are true, and there are many examples of people who have been able to do it all by themselves, but somewhere, I'm sure somewhere there was someone, even if that person didn't play a major role in your success, but just the fact that you were able to achieve what you achieved, even if it's someone like a person cleaning the place where you live, it is a big deal in your path towards success. So it's about opportunities also, because I've seen people that get an opportunity, but if you don't act on it, then you miss that chance to be successful there. And yeah, your environment doesn't always have to be home, the supporting environment, because sometimes you can't find it home, but it can be someone that just smiled to you on the street. For me, that's what has been true, but I have had the supporting environment at home, but also on the street, people complimenting what I do, people saying me to keep on telling me to keep on going, and that is what kind of helps me, drags me into the success, being successful. I also think it's about your attitude, not beating yourself up for when something doesn't go right, or when you haven't been that successful or as successful as you had hoped to be, but being satisfied with every step so that you can feel successful, but also keeping on working hard for that what you aim to go for. So yeah, it's actually a balance between everything. You cannot work yourself to death to be successful, but it's success in the small things. So every step counts, and that's what I think about success. Where to start, because between 80 and 90% of my childhood memories make me smile. I've had such an amazing childhood, and I'm very grateful for it. I've had the opportunity to explore, to be a child, innocent, and then slowly growing up into the world in a kind of protected environment, and that's pretty cool. I have so many stories that I smile about on a daily basis. I'm someone that likes to keep memories and repeat them in my head. Now that I have my husband, I tell him the stories, and it's amazing to have someone to share them with. But basically, just thinking back at the image of mom, dad, and my sister and I in the forest is such a pretty picture for me that it makes me smile. The things that we experienced there, the beautiful things that we experienced there. Lately, I had told my husband a while ago already. Yes, I had told my husband a while ago already about one childhood memory. Every time it was going to be our birthday, when we were in, what do you call it? When we were going to school, but between ages 6 and 10, I don't remember the level you call it in English, but yes, every time it would be our birthday. One of the little tradition was mom would get up in the middle of the night and decorate the kitchen, so that when we get up, then we would wake up to a decorated little decoration in the house. Sometimes it was a lot, sometimes it was a little less, but she was keeping the decorations throughout the years. That was cool. And then we would usually wake up to the sound of my dad baking popcorn just in a pot. So the popcorn would go pop, 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 pop. And that's the sound that wakes you up, and you're like, oh my goodness, it's my birthday and we're gonna bring popcorn to school today. And he was also making like local pancakes here. It's we call them bakablong. It's just basically just flour, sugar, and the the flavoring that you have. I mean vanilla or nutmeg and cinnamon. Yeah, so just a simple thing he would bake for us, and that's what we were going to bring to school. Sometimes if we had a lot of bit more money, they would buy stuff so that we could bring to school. But one of the beautiful memories is that he would wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and start baking popcorn and then putting them in little bags for us so that we could give the children in the class for our birthday. And my husband, he remembered that. So in December it was my birthday, and in the morning he did the same. He woke up and he baked popcorn for me. That was very cute, and it's one of the memories that makes me smile. So yeah, one thing my parents did really well is that they were our number one supporters. So I didn't always necessarily need confirmation from the outside, like from my peers or from other people, because my parents were like our number one supporters, to the extent where we would just not organize, but just be at home there in the forest, and we would just put a silly wig and put a silly or experiment with makeup, and it would look so hideous, but yes. And then play some music, and then just do silly dances or anything, and they would be sitting like our number one fans on the couch and applauding after every dance that we did, literally. My dad also used to listen to what we did in school, even though he himself didn't go much to school. He would just, if we were like, hey dad, I want to read this lesson to you, and let me talk from my side. If I was going to him like, Dad, I want to read this lesson to you, he would listen. He would be all ears right away, and yeah, that was really cool. They were strict in what regarded the outside world, like outside of our family, but yet they allowed us to discover so many positive activities, like going to piano lessons, dance lessons, tennis, gymnastics. My mom also worked on reinforcing the different languages for us. I don't know if she did it totally purposefully, but she was calling me during summer break and saying, come and read Bambi and the Butterfly. And back then I hated English because of Bambi and the Butterfly, that I had to read it every summer. So, but now I can speak English, and that's one of the main reasons why. Yes, they were giving us much love, and that's something that I am really grateful for. Something I wish they had done differently though was better preparing us for the realities of the world, because in my mind it's always kind of been like a fairy tale, and yes, there are parts of fairy tales that do come true and that are like in real life, but there are also realities that we need to consider, things that are not always that beautiful in life, that they happen, and I had to realize that kind of on my own. Another thing also is that they portrayed themselves as being those, to me, as being, or that's how I perceived it, as if they were so perfect, and yes, and then afterwards, now that they're gone, and you discover things and you're like, hey, wait, So, okay, they were human after all, and you have to forgive them from this place, and they're not even here anymore. So that's kind of tough. Yeah, so I think they should have been more real as persons. For my own child that's on the way, I hope that I can be that parent that reinforces them, but also shows them that I'm not perfect, and makes them understand that they don't have to be perfect either, but that we can just be great friends. And I hope that I can respect them as an individual that is going to develop into a beautiful personality, I hope, here on earth. So, one of the things I like to do is dancing. My whole family, we love dancing. But yeah, it's not that I'm a great dancer, we're just silly dancing.
L'évangile selon les Il y a un seul Dieu en trois personnes. Il y a un en neuf personnes. Neuf est indivisible de toi. Ça fait me dit toi, ça le fait.
I love to talk about school because my school path has been very interesting, I think, and yeah, school has always been the one thing I'm really comfortable talking about in social situations. Even if I didn't have that many like real friends, but yes, I would sometimes participate in safe social activities. So like if we would have but that was in high school, senior high. If we would have a barbecue, I could go, but I never had something to talk about. Anyway, my school path has been interesting because I started going to elementary school in French Guyana. There we started school at 3 years old, and it's been amazing. It was an Adventist, Seventh-day Adventist elementary school. We would learn a lot of songs, and that really boosted my French speaking skills. Yes, after that I was 10 years old, moving on to, in Suriname we still have 1 year for going to elementary school before we then go to high school. So yes, I continued going to school in Albina, which is the border place of Suriname. Yeah, so you have a river between the two places, Saint Laurent du Maroni, where I grew up in French Guyana, and Albina on the Surinamese side. So every morning it was coming from the house in the forest, lifting, because we didn't always have the means to get to school, lifting for 8 kilometers, and then getting to the border, asking for another lift of the boat drivers, the local small boats we have that cross the river, crossing the river for 10 to 15 minutes, and then walking to school, and then all the way back after school. That was very interesting for me, adventurous, and but yeah, so I went 5 years to school like that in Albina. It was Dutch speaking. I completed my high school there, and then I skipped the last class and went then back to senior high in French Guyana, but it was only for 3 months because my parents didn't quite agree with the schooling system in French Guyana, so they wanted us to be in school in Suriname. So we moved to Paramaribo with my mother, and then I went to Christian Liberty Academy, which is an American style school. There we used to speak English, and I completed my senior high there. yeah, so I think it's been a pretty cool school path. I also then after senior high, I continued with a Bachelor of Music Education in the Conservatory of Suriname. So yeah, it's been a lot, but school has always been a pleasant environment for me. In the beginning, I didn't have friends in elementary. Nobody was looking at me, and I even think I experienced a little bit of racism because it was a paying school and we were not like that rich. But my mother wanted to invest in us, so she took the little bit of money that we had and paid for our schooling. But ever since I was 8 years old, a new girl came into class, and she was from France. She invited me to her birthday party, and ever since then I've always had people, yeah, that are my friends, even though I have no contact with any of them anymore. But yeah, I think love is a summary of how we should live towards one another. That's how I can put it, because it's all about the actions that you do. It's about the feeling also that you can't ignore, and it's about but it's above all a voluntary, responsible thing that you do. You have to commit to loving people, loving your significant other, loving your family, even if it's hard. And yeah, a big part of it too is about being trustworthy. And when you love someone, you have to be trustworthy, but also that person has to be trustworthy. So like everybody should be trustworthy so that the whole love thing can really work well. Because I've seen so many examples of people throwing themselves into a relationship or trying to love someone so desperately, someone of your family, and then that love is not reciprocated, and that's kind of painful to live, to watch, to see. So we have to stay mindful when we love, and everybody should also be mindful that you should love. It's like an obligation. So those are my thoughts on love. It's always a difficult topic to talk about, but yeah, everybody finds part of the words, and then if we combine all of that, then I'm sure we can agree that love is all that matters. So I've been married for almost a year now. Sorry, in February is going to be a year. But we've known each other for almost 5 years then, also in February. We met in church. I was playing the piano, the keyboard for the singing group, and I was also singing. And then one day this young man came into the church with his family. His dad was going to be a pastor in the church, and his mother too. And so he saw the guitar there, and nobody was playing the guitar, so he has to play it, and that's how we kind of grew closer together. We started to, we had the same interests. I started apping him because I wanted to start the youth group of that church, and I thought he would be a good partner in that, and from one thing came the other. The challenges have been my mom, because she was a bit overprotective, as one would say, but she didn't agree for me to build romantic relationships. I was 19 when we started knowing each other, and then the church also was making kind of some issues, but that was a little bit of nonsense. And then sometimes I had to go back to French Guiana and stay there for 3 months and so on, so that was a little bit hard for the both of us and for the relationship. But overall I can say it was pretty nice. What made me attracted to him is that I could feel safe with him. Yeah, there are a lot of problems in the world, but I think one of the biggest ones is the problem of inequalities, and it's on every level, even if it's in race, riches, now gender, yes, authority. Why should there be so much inequality? Why can't it just be respect and also opportunities, so that not only the rich get richer, but people that are that didn't have it, or maybe that couldn't get it passed down from their parents, or didn't have the opportunities, why can't they too make it, or just have enough to live on a daily basis? If everybody could just have enough to live, that would be great already. But I think the inequalities are one of the biggest problems in the world, and the way it should be fixed. We keep on doing campaigns, talking, creating opportunities, creating platforms where everybody can be equal. There are so many ways already where it has gone wrong in our history. If we just look at slavery, and if you look at the Holocaust and things like that, and you're like, that's already where it's gone wrong. But how we can fix it maybe is just continue to be active in that which you're active in, and that's a good thing. So yeah. My dream is to have a vacation school, my dream is to have a vacation school and an after school like in one. So it would be a school, but not where you would go regularly to school, but where you would it would just be a space where you could discover yourself, discover creative things about yourself, but on your own. We already have teachers in school and so on, but I think that something that helped me during my personal growth as a child, and now as a child, was that we had supplies, we had opportunities, we had a lot of paper that I could just draw on or write on. We had games that would trigger our minds. I don't know if you see the games there. They are all society games that we can play together, and that help yes your brains work. But not everybody has access to that, and not everybody has the mentality to think about getting those things, or the opportunity, the money to think about getting those things. So I was really hoping to create that space where you're not forced to do anything. You can discover on your own in short bursts of time when you're free, when you're done with school, your duties, and yes, you could just come to that school and there would be a lot of options for you to get busy with. One thing also that inspired me here for this were the vacation projects in French Guyana. French Guyana is a very social kind of, France, it's a very social kind of system. So they had a lot of funded projects where children like me could just go for free, and you would learn a lot of things. I went on stage doing rap songs, and that was coming out of a project of learning how to write rhyme and things like that. That was very cool, very interesting experience. And then I also learned how to sew clothing, and without giving out a cent, so it was accessible, and that's something that I would like to implement, but on a more regular basis, because these things tend to die out. And yeah, so if I had a lot of money right now, that's definitely what I was going to start doing, building that school or that platform where children can grow in a safe environment that's a little bit controlled, but where they can really be themselves. And it would create an opportunity for everyone to, at least once in their life, do something creative. That's what I was going to do.
Thank you, Saïda, for having the courage to share your story with us. Take a moment to appreciate Saïda's unique and incredible journey. Even now, as you watch this video, her story continues in harmony with the great interconnected story that we all share. If you enjoyed meeting Saïda, like the video and subscribe to meet more people from around the world. To be featured on Citizens of Soul yourself, you can apply at citizensofsoul.com.